TVC Breakfast. Today is the inauguration of the 46th President of the United States, Joe Biden, and Vice President Kamala Harris. Now, one experts believe that social media impacted civic engagement, registration, and early voting across the board during the U.S. election that produced Biden and Harris. It also played major role to, during President Trump's administration. In Africa, Uganda recently banned the use of social media during its 2021 election. Although restored, Uganda's decision came as several governments around the world turned their attention to curtailing the power and influence of privately owned social media platforms. And back home in Nigeria, from the NSAS protests to the recent frenzy around paternity talks and DNA tests, just to mention a few, social media has been used as a conduit to amplify issues and drive conversations in recent times. And this is what we'll be talking about in the next couple of minutes. So joining me to discuss this is communications expert Tony Usidame. Tony, good morning and Happy New Year.
Good morning. Happy New Year to you.
Very good. Now, someone described social media like a two-edged sword. You can use it for positive, you can use it for negative, and all of that. But if you monitor and assess how the trends are generally, it seems the fear of social media is the beginning of wisdom now.
I think for business as well as for politics, social media is gaining huge relevance. That's because with a small amount of data, people who ordinarily wouldn't have had an opportunity to air their views about issues that affect them can today. And then we also look at the quality of virality that social media has. Within seconds of tweeting or posting any comment, people around the world can see it in real time. So yes, social media is a strong force. Depending on how you use it, it can be a force for good. It can also be a force for destruction, which is why the issue about regulation would always be a topic.
Now you mentioned regulation. We certainly will go into the issues of regulation later on. Now, social media, we see young people, anybody, like you say, it's a voice. Everybody can express himself or herself anytime and the way you want it. But when we talk about the impact of this kind of expression, sometimes, like we see when they talk about the now President Trump, inciting people through his tweets, whether he directly did it or it was an implied, a situation is a different thing altogether. But people got this message via social media, his tweets and all of that. Now, should there be a consideration, a way of registering into social media? Should there be a kind of a gatekeeping where if you're a young person coming up, there has to be a certain rudiment of maybe verification, beyond verification, training, maybe beyond training, some conditions you have to go through before you finally go into, or you go live into social media?
Like most contracts, social contracts, they're usually terms and condition. Facebook is a community and the community has guidelines. Okay, so when you're registering to be part of any of the social media platforms, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever it is, there are already guidelines in place. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't go through these guidelines. It almost seems like those buyer clauses you see for commercial products written in small print somewhere at the end. You probably would have clicked OK, or you probably would have signed before you understand what you're getting into. But the truth is, social media communities have guidelines guiding engagement within the community. So that in itself is some form of gateway for people who understand the importance. And then if people are seen to go against these community guidelines, of course, those laws that they signed to can come into effect.
All right. Now, recently, there were, I want to just pick one story or one incident out of a lot of many. There was the issue of paternity test, a DNA test for someone who said the children, who claimed that the children were for someone else, and things like that. Now, if you look critically, there are so many implications, legal implications to those kind of expressions. The issue of whether some of the stories were verified first before they went out, the issue of whether the issues are even true or fake are there, the issue of libel, all of those things, defamation, they're all there. Now, how justiciable, let me say, are issues like that when, for instance, someone goes on social media and makes a claim about something and all of that, and can you sue someone on that ground?
Yeah, I don't need to be a lawyer to know that there are existing laws concerning libel and slander that can be enforced. Besides, I was talking before about community guidelines for social media networks. Besides those which usually are set by the intermediary companies, in this case, the social media networks, there are also, laws of the country like libel that people can call upon. The matter is, you really cannot stop people from sharing fake news, but we can do better by having a healthy dose of skepticism whenever we see any news on our feed. First ask ourselves, does it make sense? And then who is the person sharing it? Is this platform credible? And then compare to the more traditional established media, because if it is true, the bigger media are likely to carry that information as well. So those are some of the checks that individuals can apply to ensure that what they are sharing on the social media platform is the authentic news, because we have a responsibility for what we share. Besides the community guidelines that you might be breaching, there are also legal concerns. You could be sued for information that you share. And people need to understand that they have to take responsibility for what they share. Ignorance is not an excuse.
Take responsibility. That brings us to the issue of media literacy, whether people have understanding enough. Like you said, there is a video, or there is a text, or there is a picture or a graphic, and you want to forward, whether it is comedy or it is musical or something. Some carry different kind of information. Finding out where is the source of this, is it factual, is it true, what could be the implication if I send it, and what is the reason for my sending or forwarding it to a group or to any other person, as the case may be. But people don't check all of these things before they send. Now, the issue of, we remember the government talking about the issue of fake news, misinformation, disinformation, and even to the level of hate speech at the time. Now, what are the dangers around these, if we have to go there now?
The Constitution in most democratic settings like Nigeria and the US that you cited guarantees citizens the freedom of expression. So I believe that some form of regulation for this, talking about the social media now, some form of regulation as well as the enforcement of existing legislation is necessary to ensure a balance between the promotion of this free speech that is guaranteed to citizens, as well as the protection of public interest. However, the responsibility to moderate falls largely, what is being shared or said in the public space, falls largely on the social media companies themselves. Government can only impose a limited set of civility norms on public discourse. Now, you need to understand that in a democracy, what drives progress is the divergent views that you have. Healthy debates about, what is going on. This is what actually drives progress. So I come out with a claim. If you have a counter claim to show that what I have said is wrong, because ultimately it's to get to the truth. But if you don't have that opportunity for people to air their views about, what is going on, what is topical, then we would not get to the truth. So as much as social media has some of its negative sides, which is, for instance, the case of Trump you cited, possibly inciting people to violence, there are many, 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 many positives that we can take from it. So the real issue should be discussions around, like you said, educating people as to what is fake and what is not fake and how to spot them. And then also, their rights, because these are the things that make democracy deeper. The rights of citizens to free speech, the right of expression, these are the things that make democracy work and thrive.
Now, let's talk about the issue of regulation you mentioned earlier on. Now, we've seen even the government of Nigeria at the time talking about the need to regulate social media. Now, in some African countries, we've seen the outright ban on social media for a period of time, or ensuring that social media doesn't work for a period of time, especially when it's getting towards a build-up to election and so on. But what can government really do? Because most laws in many countries, if not all, have something to do with libel and slander, like you talk about already. But when social media comes on board, it seems so many governments are very uncomfortable with the issue, with the way people voice out, with the way people express themselves, and the way things go viral. What else can government do? Can government really do anything about that?
Government needs to understand its place in regulating public discourse. Like I mentioned earlier, the responsibility to moderate what is being said or shared in the public space falls largely on intermediary companies, in this case, the social media companies themselves. So what happened in Uganda, like you cited, or in some of the countries where the regime is autocratic, or if you may, isn't the norm in a democratic state. In every democratic state, the ideal should be to protect citizens' rights to free speech as much as possible. Yes, like I said, people can misuse this right, but the government has tools, legal tools that it can draw. Not just the government, individuals who feel that they have been slandered, through posts that have been made on social media can seek redress in court. And, when people begin to be aware of their rights to seek redress, maybe then some of those people who share things without, taking time to fact check would start to take this thing seriously, because there is no way to stop false news without individuals taking personal responsibility. And I think that is one area where we need the media, and all of us need to do better, because if the society burns down, we all burn.
Because we are the society
exactly.
After all. Now, let's get into how best to utilize social media, because we can't overemphasize the positive part of things. How best to do this so that everyone can benefit and everybody is happy. It becomes a win-win for the government, becomes win-win for everybody and for organizations and corporations. We see even the traditional media you're talking about, the mainstream media, most of them have social media accounts now, and platforms where they engage with people and all of that. But how best can anyone and people utilize social media for the good of the society? Let's go there.
This is a very, very good question. When the debates around, regulation of the social media was being championed by the Minister of Information, I did say, for those who care to listen, that there are over 27 million social media users in Nigeria, active users. Not all 27 can be against, 27 million can be against the government. So rather than seek additional regulation for the social media, the government can look to use it, like you said, for its good, to first of all, to promote participation in culture, in politics, in arts. It can use it to start public conversations around policy issues and also to curate public opinion in order to gather feedback necessary for making new laws and policies that are more people-centric. Not everyone on social media is out to cause chaos. Not everyone is anti-government. So we should be looking more at leveraging the positives of this social media platform, because whether we like it or not, social media has come to stay, and the sooner we start to use it to our advantage, whether in business or in politics, the better for us, because society, as we know it, can't go back to the era where things were analog.
Exactly.
It would only get better, and people will have more power. So we need to find ways to ensure that we are channeling this power for positive, for the good of society.
Now, if you see social media handles from Twitter to Facebook to Instagram and all of that, social media handles of government agencies, a lot of them seem to just be there because we need to have a platform. When it comes to engagement, they don't drive that kind of traffic. Maybe because of the language, maybe because of the style of communication.
Sorry, I will tell you why.
Okay.
The reason this is like this for the government and most of the parastatals is because most of the time we have the wrong persons in position. Go to some of the government website. Don't forget, when we talk social media, the website is also part of this, part of the tools where people can get information. Go to most of the government agencies today. The information you have there is stale. But they have people in the communications department. You can't get a valid phone number. You can't get a valid email address. For most of them, they still carry information. In fact, CBN probably has information about banks that are no longer in existence, or banks that have merged with other banks still have their information on their website. This is the problem. So government must start by getting the right people in place. Get professionals to manage communication for the country. And digital media, social media, it's a very important part of it. And this is why you see that engagement is low. Also, when they even speak, they're reacting rather than being proactive, rather than getting the message, trying to sell government policies and get people's buy-in. The government is always reacting to what is being said. This is not how social media should be handled, because it's an important tool. You can't take it lightly by handing it to just anybody. You need to have professionals manning our social media platforms, because whether you like it or not, it's a very important tool for progress. It's a very important tool for shaping perception about the country. It's a very important tool for development.
All right. Just a few days ago, I was watching, there was a countdown, a social media countdown for comedians on Instagram. And I was just watching and understanding how persons whom the last 5 or few years ago nobody knew about, but because the social media is here, they're heavy, big celebrities making a lot of money and all of that. Now, narrowing it down to the individual, what should they look out for and how to, because a lot of people have talents, have potentials of all kinds, whether it is in art, whether it is in science, invention, whatever, in fashion, music, whatever it is. But they don't know how to translate that, especially when it comes to selling and marketing themselves on social media and reaching out to people where the audience are.
It's important first and foremost to look at your business and your market. In communication, PR, which is my forte, there's no one-size-fits-all approach. Right. You first need to understand, what you're selling, who you're selling to, where they are. They may not, your consumers might be on Facebook and not on Instagram. They might be on Instagram and not on Twitter. Or they might be on a combination of all of this.
Yeah, so when you assume that they are all the same,
you might just be wasting your time and your resources. So the first thing companies have to do is to audit who they are.
Target audience
and where they are and how they consume media. It is only then that you can tailor your communication to those particular people. And social media works on virtually every business. Once you do the work, do the audit, then you can channel your communication and get the results that you need. That's like the first thing that you need to do. And then, the rest of it, you'll probably come to my master class before I share all of the secrets.
All right, that's interesting. Now, taking it to politics, we saw in 2015 elections in Nigeria the role of social media in how the government of the day benefited from social media campaigns and engagement and all of that. President Trump, that is just leaving office right now, in fact, it seems he has built his house, and in fact, he has a Trump Towers on Twitter, as the case may be, and he is always tweeting. And a lot of people, even some media agencies, just wait. If you want to hear anything from Trump, just wait. In the next few minutes or something, or a few hours, you're going to get a tweet from the president. So they use that as the statement. So these days, people don't necessarily wait for that official statement and then press conferences anymore. You wait for Twitter handles, and then it goes out. Now, you have said social media has come to stay. How can, going forward, because we're going to have more elections, we're going to have more of these, how best can we utilize all of these tools for that social mobilization towards, a great society?
I'm going to talk about Nigeria, and you cited the 2015 elections.
Yes.
And even before the 2015 election, the 2011 elections, for me, that was where a lot of Nigerian youths started to be part of political discourse. And, what this does, opening the space and having people air their voices, what it does is that it helps to deepen democratic values. So we need to continue to encourage this kind of discussion, public discourse on politics, on issues that affect us. Youths are now more interested in politics. They are now ready to hold political office holders to account, and the social media gives them the platform to do so. Some can't even reach their representatives directly because a lot of them seem to be disconnected from the people they're supposed to be representing. But they cannot ignore when these people bring issues affecting their community on social media. They're forced to listen. So we need to continue to encourage more participation in discussions around politics as well as other things, but we're talking politics now because it is only then that we will be able to get it right in this democratic journey that Nigeria is on. Don't forget, we're still very many years behind the US and other advanced countries, but we are making progress, and we need to continue to keep the channels of engagement, the channels of debate. We need to keep them open because that is the way that we can move our society forward. All
right, we have to leave it here now. Thank you so much, Tony Osidame.
It's my
communication
pleasure.
Expert, and you have really touched on so many things that we have to work on as a people. And one other area is media literacy, which everyone needs to have, and take responsibility for whatever you're posting and forwarding is really important to reduce fake news, misinformation, and disinformation, and even hate speech. Thank you so much for coming.
It's my pleasure.
Great.